Okay, so Linsol, which is importer of a lot of things that I've recommended in this channel, is like, hey, we have a set of open back dynamic headphones. Do you want to try them? And they showed me the picture of them, and I went, fuck yes. And they arrived, and they came in this rather plain looking case. And I was like, all right, cool, it's fine. And the wire is like, HarmonicDyne. Oh, Buckaroo Banzai is going to end up at HarmonicDyne, fighting off creatures from the 8th dimension. But the Helios by HarmonicDyne Indiegogo is about to launch. In fact, you're watching this, it launched. I'm filming this before it launches, it's launched. Happy surprise New Year. And to my surprise, something that looks like this with wooden cups and beautiful drivers is gonna retail for about $200. And if you get on the Indiegogo, it's like $130, which is remarkably cheap. Like, remarkably. And the pads it comes with are pretty nice. Look at the that is a 3-knuckle round. It's way too loose to be a 2-knuckle. That is a 3-knuckle round. But we're going to talk a little bit about my adventure this morning. And we're going to talk about, for a second, quickly, Hi-Fi Guides. If you don't know, let's go to HiFiGuides.com, which is an adventure that DMS and I started, hand in hand. We're running through to the future. And I came here just now because $200 when they're retailing. Fine. So let's drag the slider on headphones, because you can look up in-ears, speakers, subwoofers. So let's go to $200 on headphones, $205. I'm going to ask you if you want an amp. I'm going to say skip, because it doesn't matter if I have an amp. What kind do I want? Open or close? There's a bug we have to work out. So I'm going to say open. And this is asking you if you want neutral, dark, mid, forward, neutral again, V-shaped, right and warm. Again, a bug. We're working on it. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to skip that. So now these are the results that Hi-Fi Guides has brought up for me. And if we ignore the cost stuff, because it's Porta Pros and KSC 75s and KBH 30Is, and we ignore the stuff that's under $100, so like Ship 9500s, SR 60Es, Civga 007s, we are left with HE 400Is, Fidelio X2 HRs, M560 planars, the HD 579s, the DT880s, the 58X Jubilees, and that's it. It's a pretty lonely place under 200 open back. I could name a billion close back. In fact, we can go up here and do that exact same thing for close back. And look at the list scrolls. Actually, what did I just do? Oh, I did open or closed. So now it's just closed. But the list still scrolls. And these are the ones that are out of your price range, by the way. But look how many more there are close back than open. So when you get a... I don't want to even say the word decent, because that's underselling these a bit. So when you get a open back dynamic for under 200, that's going to be way under 200 for the initial period, and then it's going to just end up probably under 200 also. You know how retail cost works. So it'll be like 180 maybe on Amazon in a year. When these hit the market in that sort of capacity, I'm going to have to go back to Hi-Fi Guides, and I'm going to have to look at them, things they're real serious, and go, well, does it matter if the 400Is are there? Throw them away. What about the Civga 006? If these stay low enough, I wouldn't, 007s, throw those away. Because the Helios exists. It's one of those headphones. So I don't know who they got their driver from, but I put these on. And actually, when I originally got them, I did not know the price, because they just said, hey, we have these headphones. They wanted to give it to me. They did the right thing. They didn't slam me full of, here's how we got the driver, here's what the retail cost is going to be here. They just gave me the headphones. The best thing you could do for me as a reviewer, just give me something and tell me nothing about it. Don't tell me the type of amplification it uses. Don't tell me the technology that's been put into it. Just give it to me and let me listen to it. I don't want to have my judgment clouded by anything. And I got them and I looked at them and I went, oh, fuck, look at this $500 set with this machine stainless steel back and real wood cups. But then I was sort of like, well, That's plastic and not wood, and I hate fake plastic. Like, it's like the bane of my existence. Like the original, not to date myself, but my father had the original Atari with the fake plastic, and then you had TVs with fake plastic. Then you had PT Cruisers with fake plastic. So I have a real nagging murder itch for fake plastic. So we're just going to assume that anyone who gets these can just take a magic marker or a piece of tape and just cover that. The cups are very basic. They're not very deep. You can't see through them because there's pretty good dampening in there. In fact, as for an open back, they do block quite a lot of sound. And with the pads they come with. That was the one thing that when I put them on, because the clamp's a little bit what I would call tight. I'm sure I could work it out if I really wanted to like take this. If I wanted to manhandle this like I've done other headphones and just go like this. Like just take it and do that. I could make the clamp a little bit. In fact, it's already looser already. I've done it. I've already done it. But my hobby for the last day or so has been to see what I can do with this, because I'm a bit excited. A new, cheap being the word here, affordable. People tell me not to use the word cheap. Use the word affordable. It doesn't seem, you want to get something that's cheap, you want to get something that's affordable. It's cheap. Under $200 is cheap for a good open back. And these stock pads, and these are songs, I maintain a playlist on my foobar that's specifically for songs that have just popped up in my 20,000 songs. I'm like, you know what? That would probably sound amazing in a sound demo because it goes through the motions in the first 45 seconds or so. And this is all the ones I currently have to test because I have to send them to YouTube in a video and say what YouTube explodes. If YouTube explodes, then I can't use them. But, wow. Because here's the thing. All that matters is drivers. That's it. With all that matters is drivers and tuning. Everything else, the headband, the cup shape, the cup material most of the time, except if you're talking about very high-end wood closebacks like TH909s. Most of all of this is bullshit. You plug it into an amplifier, you could take the raw drivers and you could hold them by your ears and almost get what a headphone's going to sound like. Once you have a quality driver, everything else has to come together for that. You have to go, okay, here's our driver. Now, where are we placing it? Are we placing it deadpan flat, or are we going to slide it forward and angle it? Okay, let's try that. Then we're going to put this dampening material over the plastic. Okay, now we need pads. How thick a pad? You want that thick a pad? How big a hole? 3 knuckle? This is a solid 3 knuckle. And then you got to go with back dampening. Well, how much are we dampening the back? I just leave it wide open like the my 2000X up there, just open. Just as open can open. But no, we'll put a sheet of like felt back there. How about thicker felt? It's all about taking that working good driver and giving it a wonderful environment to live in. And then after all of that, you can make it look pretty. And oh boy, did they make these look pretty. So I'd clap, but I'm holding them for making something sound this good, look this good, and then cost so little. So now we're going to have to talk about how they sound stock pads, and I really should take them off. I have them currently hooked up balanced into my reference. They are a 3.5 millimeter, so I couldn't resist the urge. The wire they come with, by the way, I know I pulled it out and I said it's HarmonicDyne. It's just basically a standard, you know, here's your spray and release spring, beautiful straight fabric, 6 feet long. Breaks off into aluminum, into 2 little splits, into these. They're well indicated L and R in them. It's a fine wire. It's a fine wire. I wasn't even using any other wire, but then I'm like, you know what? Let's test the limits of how far you can push this headphone. Because it has some build flaws. They made the look perfect. They got the driver just right. There are some other slight inconsistencies that I have to point out. I'm going to put this over here. Let's see, that's right, and that's left. positive click. I'm not going to actually attach the pads because these are a little bit hard to get on there. They're actually this is a very large thing. In fact, here is Brainwave's like XL stuff. And XL stuff will fit, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about everything. But for now, I'm just going to do the Zeos thing, which is literally this. This is how I live. I live by temporarily holding pads on and then sliding them on my head. Oh, I should probably turn this amp up. This, by the way, I will link it, is the Rebel amp. This is made in the Ukraine, and it is Class A. And it's not expensive, but it's giant and beautiful in emerald green. And I can go... So, I don't know, does this count amp dependence? Do you want to know that? Because 7A9, obviously the straight line benchmark. I have my tube amp on. We can do this. And the tube affects it a little bit. Not as much as I thought it would. These are not bassy, crazy low-end headphones, by the way. If I'm going to give you the overall arcing sound, we are looking at treble accuracy, almost to a fault. It gets up there, but there's a tonality to it. Like I'm listening to this is Dark Side Metatron, and even like the sounds are moving so accurately. Oh, but I love that Class A. Oh, that's why I did the reference, because that's Class A balance, and it's like, hey, let's make your wallet fucking disappear. Wait. These are some of the most immediately good sounding headphones, and that's stock pads, stock wire, just through almost every amp. Like there's a certain sweetness that Class A is adding to it. And I could try it on my own, or I could try it on that own with the high output impedance. I'm doing tubes. It doesn't ever sound bad. So then I'm like, all right, let's fuck this party up. Let's just fuck the party up royally. Royal party fuckers. Let's go Class A balanced instead of just Class A. And it's like, oh, so they scale with amplification is what you're saying. All right. Because that's a thing that headphones can do. Some headphones can do that. Some headphones, you plug them into any amp. Your phone, your goddamn surround receiver, a 6-year-old FiO player, a brand new M15, and they all sound identical. But other headphones, depending on the weather, the humidity, the moon cycle, every amp might touch them a little differently. And this is one of those pairs of headphones. And once that became obvious, I decided to work on one of the other things that was sort of nagging me. Number one, the clamp is up there. So you get like a pretty good pressure on your head. And these pads, while huge hole, like they need to sell these pads separately, because huge hole, they're not very thick. So I'm like, all right, I wonder, and you get like your ear starts to press against the inside. And even though it's got like a concave back here, so your ear would actually rest in that space, I started on this journey. And this journey brought me to a conclusion. And I could take you on the entire 4-hour ordeal, but here's what I've come to understand. Perforated pads bring the treble up just a little bit too much. But every single one of these pads, from the gel-filled XL brainwaves to these perforated brainwaves XLs to these, and these are Dakoni Odyssey pads. Odyssey, you know, the big ones. These are like hey, like they have a little bit of adhesion left. You can put these on here, and they still sound good. There are differences. There are minor differences. Like these are the perforated ones. I could get out the other ones but I had to stop my madness. So they make the treble come up a bit, maybe a little bit too much. But if you get these headphones and you're like, well, the soundstage isn't quite what I want, because that's a thing. Soundstage depends a whole lot on, especially in dynamics, like where the driver's positioned and how the driver's tuned. But in this case, you want soundstage, you want the sound to be wider, just keep shoving thicker and thicker pads on it. Because I started with like this. This is a Brainwaves round, sheepskin, Deconi. These are the X100 pads. And you'd think going from like a huge, where's the stock ones? Where's the stock? Stock hole to a small hole and thicker to this weird shape would somehow affect the sound negatively. It doesn't do it. It's literally a comfort adjustment, especially in this sort of thickness. And then you get up to the thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker until you get to this. And these are like $70 pads, so. And now we're talking about soundstage in the Sundara range. And you have to turn the volume up because things get bigger. And I mean, I'm granted $2,000 Italian balanced amp, but like I just want to listen. I'm going to go back to my main playlist and just shuffle around. Like I'd have real hard time guessing the cost of these. If these had these pads on them to start, and this wasn't fake wood, and this headband didn't have this one issue. Here's the issue with the headband that I have, that hopefully when they're not hand numbering models, because they're building them and sending them out to reviewers, is this plastic here that goes over with this spring steel is just a little bit, well, I actually can't demonstrate it with the thick pads, but this is what slides up and down, and it doesn't really click all that well, and it just sort of floats there, just a little bit. So when you have pressure on it, it presses against, and that's fine. I just wish that it didn't have to do that. It's just part of the design they chose. I haven't seen this headband on anything else, though, which is nice, because usually I literally have headphones that are clones of clones that have been cloned in the Clone Wars, and they come in their clones. And this is all new to me, bro. So I'm going to just put this back on, and I'm going to go back to Shook Me All Night Long from AC/DC and just width. Sharp though, because we were using perforated. But here, oh my god. This is Anna Karam Soladeo from Beskov Jazz, and I couldn't tell you what these cost. Are these a $1,000 headphone? Are these a $500 headphone? Are they a $130 headphone with $100 pads on them? Oh, that's the answer? Oh, silly me. Fuck. I haven't done the sound demo yet. I'm going to do the sound demo today, probably, so that the day this is released, Wednesday, you can hear it. And I don't know if I'm going to leave the stock pads on, because every pad has this change that makes me want to hear them more and more. And I think if you're like going to yell at me in the comments, Zeos, but which pad was the best? ZMF Ori Suede. And I think these were also the ones that really brought out the close-back Verite, which is like a $2,500 pair of headphones. Don't ever deny how amazing a difference a pad can make. But if I do that, which keeps the general material of the originals, because when you're going from different materials, you're changing the way the sound is. Aha! I'm going to ask Linsol if this will be at CanJam. Will these headphones be at CanJam New York? Because that's coming up. It's Wednesday. It's this weekend. I'll be there. Hi, everybody. I'm at CanJam New York. If you see me, say hi. I don't mind. You want to take a picture of me? Fine, but I'm going to give you the stink eye. Stink eye look. That's beautiful. You're not going to see that stink eye. If They are bringing these headphones to CanGym New York. I am bringing this pair of pads, and I'm going to loan them to them at CanGym. I'll have to burn them afterwards, but then I'll be like, hey, Zach, it's EMF. Hook me up. Because this headphone does not belong under $200. Whatever the fog magic is happening, these are good pads. Everything's a little close. You get a little bit of a discomfort thing when they're touching the inside of your ear because the things are so big, it's not really. And I would absolutely, $130 is hilarious, $200 is hilarious for how good these sound on any amp. I know I'm going full balls to the walls here. But the fact that you could pad swap to almost anything and get not just a different sound, but a slightly improved sound in soundstage, and maybe the treble is still a bit too high, so you stay away from that. But you go to like open. I have these round brainwaves. These are the cheap ones, not even like micro suede. These are the sound fine. You don't ever. The only thing I'm going to say these headphones cannot do is murder bass. X2HRs, linked in the description. You know why? Because if I'm intriguing you with this, but you're like, but Zeos, I really need that bass to... The bass needs slap, but it doesn't quake my soul. And I know some people, that's all that matters. I find with open headphones, what I'm looking for, and especially like Sundaras, is not... I don't care about the whole 20 to 20 spectrum and it all being even. I kind of want that airiness to an open headphone, something that makes it sound just free and clear and light, like a dressing on a steak. Don't A1 my steak, you people who A1 their steaks should get out of my channel. If you are subscribed, unsubscribe, because you shouldn't A1 a steak. If you're A1ing your steak, something's wrong with your steak. I have A1 to steak when it's like bad, but you want a balsamic like dust. And what these do with sound, other than like the killer low end, which I would just direct you at X2HRs, everything else is amazing. In fact, I would say these are direct competition to Sundaras, which are triple the price. So, and they're also easier to drive because they're dynamic. The Sundaras planar, actually they use the same plug, so I could just, but don't listen, baby, I still love you. But I haven't changed the pads in those, and this combination, like I have to find a cheaper version. I might have angled. The reason I picked these is because they're more round than Brainwaves pads, but if you go with any sort of angled micro suede pad, I will find one, link it. If you're going to support this Indiegogo and you want, for $130, Zeos is jacking it. Holy crap. This might be, like, it's 2020 just started, but I'm pretty sure this combo has unlocked some potential future best of 2020s already. Like, we're there. I didn't have to worry about it. And I was, like, kind of worried that I would just change pads, and it would just be, there's a lot of times you change pads and it gets worse. Or just like, oh, the treble is too much. And that might be the case with specifically these Brainwaves ones. They're just... It's too big, too much space, and not enough, it traps things and reflects. The different materials will trap and reflect. But something like this, like the Brainwaves, these are the jelly ones, the ones that have the cooling gel in them. By the way, did you know those existed? There's literally a lining of cooling gel. These did an okay job of settling everything down. They all work, but these work the best. These might be the modern equivalent of the vegan pads that Odyssey used to sell. They used to sell. They stopped selling them because apparently you can't put pads from another from our headphones on another product. That would be absolutely terrible and that's misuse. Like no, it's just a pad, you dumbass. It's just a pad. So I'm expecting ZMF to get an order of about 10,000 ZMF Ori Suedes because Jesus. Like, there's just a depth to the sound. And this is all to do with the driver and the dampening, and I just happen to help it out with the pads. The stock pads are good. They just don't give you this width. the punch in that. What is this? Turn brakes, self-help. There was just like a drum kit playing in my head. Like, kick drum, absolutely impactful and realistic. You just, like, techno bass, like Deadmau5, if we put on, or Oh Mama. Oh Mama. We're bouncing around my playlist. Let's see what these pads... I could hear it. I could hear that there is bass. It just can't make it coherent. That's when you start looking for specific bass headphones or very 909s to come and save the day. But holy God, for $200, for $200 plus whatever budget you have left to throw fun amplifiers at it and pads. Just pads. I have infinite pads. I have infinite amounts of pads. I have more money here in pads than I have in a lot of those headphones up there. Because this is the key. Again, I'll say this. If you're a manufacturer of a headphone and you don't have more pads than I do, you're manufacturing headphones improperly. Because after everything is said and done, you build the perfect woman, it's time to go clothes shopping and put her in a dress, or jeans, or overalls, or a black spandex, or white spandex. And you have to figure out the final touch. That's the final touch. Not anything else. Not the look, not the bag. The final tuning needs to be pad related. They did an okay job picking these. I've never seen these pads before. They actually have quite a bit of foam here. A lot of times you get like a pad and it's just see-through fabric. Like boom, you can just see the light through it. This is thick. So I think because they're so shallow, they're trying to keep that treble a little bit further away from you with that. But, you know, with what I've got on here, it's just... Actually, it's the same. There it is. The Ori pads actually have a slightly... It's a foam, not a fabric. This is a slightly thicker foam. So now... What my job would be is to find a very thin foam and you put it behind. I don't mind tuning these headphones. They cost nothing. If I have to yell about trying pads on a $500-$600 headphone, they should have done this shit already. But Linsoul's putting this thing up and they're taking a gamble on it. And if I could tell you, yeah, it's great, and you can make it do this and that. You want more width, a little more extension. You want more treble, less treble. By just swapping pads? That's a fucking winner in my book. The only concerns I have, headband strength, and if it's going to last forever. Like this, the hinge feels fine. The hinge feels super solid. That's metal on metal. It's actually very, very smooth. I don't like plastic wood, so that's a negative. But everything else about this, well, you're going to have to hear it. Fuck. All right, I'm going to go back to the Class A amp because I think Class A unbalanced is still like, it's like 98% of what this is doing. And it's actually, this amp is a lot cheaper too. Link to the Indiegogo in the description. Link to a couple other things I talked about in the description. Link to a few pads. Hell, I might even try to link the Oris. Although I think if you're getting in the Indiegogo, you probably have some time to wait. Although, solid advice. If you have more than 3 headphones, you should probably have a selection of 4 or 5 pads just to try. Just to try. Just generalized pads. Maybe I'll do a whole video on just generalized pads that you should have. Because like these, I have like every ZMF pad and the Ori ones keep coming out. So maybe it's a magic pad. Maybe. And I think all the Brainwaves like XL ones. Just because they are like rudimentary in their design. It's just like big pad material. Try. Okay, do it. So bravo to the HarmonicDyne Helios, which the Indiegogo should be up and in the description. It's currently closed and not open. And I had some Yaxi pads I was trying out too. These are Yaxi pads, which are amazing pads, but weren't big enough. Just bigger, thicker, sweeter. So download that wallpaper in the description. You can crop it out, put it on your phone. Check out Hi-Fi Guides like I showed you at the beginning of this video. There is a forum attached to Hi-Fi Guides. In fact, if you go here, at the bottom is View on Forum, or there's a button up here that says Forums, and our place is bumping. DIY Phonitor 2 Repair DIY Oof. That's one of the DIY headphone amp threads. THX Panda thread has got 244 posts. Zia official is a Zia shill thread. Ooh, I'm gonna read this one as I shill the shit out of these headphones because I feel like I need to. 2019, is the Earth flat? Is Zia shill? What does Marcellus Wallace look like? It's a fun place. It's not hi-fi.org, headfi.org. I mean, I put it together and I let people run rampant, you know, to a degree. I'm gonna go in there and go start yelling at everybody. But this, yes, I'm shilling this. The answer to that thing, yes. You know why I shill it? Because it's good. Because I know if I do shill something and it's like it's actually not good, or, well, here's the thing, if it turns out that this is a magic set and in 6 months when everyone gets it, it's actually made of cat poo formed into the shape of drivers, I can't determine that. But I don't lie, because lies live forever on YouTube. And everybody can come back and dislike and comment, and I need this job for a while longer. Right? A salesman shows up at your town and tells you to buy something. He gone. You bought that snake oil, the legit bottle. Me, I have to sit here and accept whatever comes at me because I don't go anywhere. So, yes, I am a shill when it comes to good things. The Helios are that. And I hope in a couple months when they're actually in people's hands, they're great. Because there have been instances. Just put it that way. Are we done here? We're done. Hi-Fi Guys forums, CFCU is a shill, the wallpapers, which are always great no matter what I'm saying anyway. And sound demos in the description, and it'll be public tomorrow. And the Indiegogo will hopefully be funded by then. And I'll see you all with another review Friday. Because I can do date math.